Welcome back, everybody, to Weekly Briefing. We are speaking with Congressman Scott Fitzgerald. He's from the 5th District of Wisconsin. He's chairman of the Antitrust Subcommittee of the Judiciary Committee in the House of Representatives. Sir, you have sent a letter and you've issued subpoenas to Harvard University, and you are in the preliminary stages of conducting an antitrust investigation of Harvard University. Why have you targeted Harvard University, sir?
I'll just say that also includes Brown University and University of Pennsylvania as well at this point. There seems to be kind of something that has been out there for some time related to these Ivy League schools, that there has been somewhat of a culling on many different aspects of who's allowed to attend the universities, and just exactly what are the procedures amongst all the Ivy League schools in admitting students.
So, sir, in your answer, I heard you use a word "in concert," saying that some of these universities act in concert. That to me sounds a little bit like another word called collusion. What is the difference there, and what is the evidence that maybe goes one way or other? Is it in concert or collusion? How do you define that? How do you sort of carve that out or ascertain what the difference is there?
I think, so there's an organization that does exist in which members of the admissions boards, along with the administrators of the Ivy League universities, meet on a regular basis and decide a number of different issues. So it's not something being done behind closed doors. It's simply something that is a way of them to coordinate, I guess you'd say, to coordinate on some of the issues related to the size and the scope of the student bodies. I think it's made a lot of us nervous that have heard about it, because it does kind of cozy up to the idea that there could be some type of collusion going on, or an organized effort to limit the size of the student bodies and just exactly what they would look like. So it's, we're in a preliminary kind of point where we're just requesting materials, but we wouldn't do that unless we thought that maybe something of interest is in fact there.
It seems like you've seen something. You've seen something. You've seen some information, some evidence of some kind that has piqued your interest, right?
Well, I will go back to kind of something that President Trump and the White House has been discussing for some time, and that is that some of these universities, it's been very difficult to just allow for them to be transparent. And I think, the more transparent they are, the better off it's going to be for everyone involved.
But they're not very transparent. That's kind of the problem.
And that's why the subpoenas we thought were necessary.
So you're subpoenaing documents? Are you subpoenaing the president as well?
It's simply an expansion of the document request that was originally made, is what the subpoenas include at this point.
Have you requested that the president testify before your committee in this vein, in this subject?
I'm sure that Chairman Jordan would welcome that. We would love to have that type of discussion and transparency, to have them in front of the full committee or the subcommittee. It's just a matter of time. So, like I said, I think we're in the preliminary kind of post. We've asked for these documents. We don't think they've fulfilled the request, and that's why the subpoenas follow.
It is remarkable that the Ivy League universities, the tuition seems to be roughly comparable for all of them. And a lot of the benefits, it seems like potential financial aid is on a par with one another. And I'm just wondering when that is evidence of collusion, or if it's evidence of competition, or why there's not more of a differentiation amongst them in terms of cost. Because I know, Brown is around $90,000 a year. I think Harvard's right up there, a comparable figure.
Right, six figures. I don't want to, I guess the other thing would be that we're hoping that possibly this investigation will give us a little bit more information about what could be happening in other conferences throughout the nation. But there's been so much focus on student aid And certainly under the last administration, the debt forgiveness, that it's kind of ratcheted up, I think, Congress's ability to kind of talk about these issues publicly and say, some of this stuff really needs to be kind of aired out. But it's hard to justify the costs associated with a 4-year bachelor's degree at this point. And if it was all privately funded and it was all private dollars, that would be wonderful, but it's not. And the taxpayers are really lynched in on this, and that linchpin, I think, could be, whether or not everything is transparent.
Because the
and
Ivy
open.
League universities receive a substantial amount of taxpayer funding, whether it's for research or various grants, all kinds of other things. So
yeah, and that's where the president has been very high profile, right? I mean, he's literally saying, unless you comply on some of these fronts, the taxpayer money is not going to continue to flow.
do these Ivy League universities have the same sort of DEI policies and requirements? Is that another question that raises this question of antitrust potentially?
Yeah, I think the latest case is obviously with the president of the University of Virginia resigning over his inability, I think, to comply, or his take on whether or not he could simply comply with the requests that were being made. I think you're going to see more of this as we kind of look nationwide and dig a little bit deeper into how much pressure was put either on regents or on university boards or university presidents when it came to DEI. I think we're just scratching the surface right now on that issue.
So are you preparing for a hearing now?
We are. I think that eventually what you're going to see is possibly this fall, you would think that this could all come to a head, and we would certainly like to do some type of hearing that would include individuals that could probably bring more light to this entire topic.
Mr. Chairman, Scott Fitzgerald, 5th District of Wisconsin, Chairman of the Antitrust Subcommittee of House Judiciary, talking a little bit about their plans for fact-finding surrounding some of the Ivy League universities. Sir, it's a pleasure. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good to be with you.